Well, the last 6 months in the region have been all about diplomacy. And with the UAE normalizing relations with Israel and Qatar, I asked Omar Saif Ghobash if a rapprochement with Iran could be next on that list. Have a listen.
We don't have a problem with rapprochement with Iran. What it needs to be, it needs to be conditional. It needs to be participatory. We need to be able to engage also with the Biden administration, with the Iranians, with the region, so that because we're all implicated in these questions. And I think that's what that was the problem with the JCPOA initially, in that it didn't take our concerns into account, and it treated us as bystanders and spectators when we felt that it was directly concerned with our security. So rapprochement with Iran, absolutely. We do business with Iran. We've got a significant Iranian population here. We don't have an issue with that. We do have an issue with, as you and your viewers know, ballistic missiles, nuclear technology, looking at a nuclear weapon, and the corrosive influence that they have on many Arab economies. So if we can put an end to all of that, fantastic. Everybody would be very happy to deal with Iran and, on an equal basis.
When we think about how this is all going to play out in the future, one of the questions that I asked the foreign minister of Saudi Arabia recently was about how he can ensure that Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf countries have a seat at the table when we talk about the next phase potentially of JCPOA under the Biden administration. Does the Abraham Accords and that new relationship with Israel mean, do you think, that as a combined force, you will have a seat at that table? Your voices will be heard?
I think it's kind of a low-hanging fruit to use our relationship with Israel to present a more unified position across the region in terms of what happens with Iran. We do have common interests. It's clear, because we stand on the side of stopping nuclear proliferation in the region, and we stand on the side of developing local economies and developing our human resources. So in that sense, we stand on the same side. How the Biden administration will take that into account is something that we all need to work on. I don't think it's a secret to the Biden appointees or future appointees that this is the way we look at the region. And I think it's the ex-U.S. ambassador to the UAE, Barbara Leaf, I believe, who is going to be playing a key role in the Biden administration on the region. She knows our concerns very well, and we would expect that those concerns to be taken into account. We in the Emirates are a positive influence. The Gulf states are a positive influence. And it's our belief that the Biden administration and the group of nations that have been negotiating with Iran take us on board and see the positive influence that we can bring to discussions on Iran.
Do you think that there is going to come a point as a result of weapon sales and broader security agreements that you'll see less of a U.S. military presence in this part of the world just because simply you won't need it?
Gosh, that's a very optimistic view of the region. I think it's a little too early to say that. I think we are more in favor of a U.S. presence for the foreseeable future. We're allies, we're friends, we're partners, so I think we welcome their presence here.
How concerning is it to you that we've seen an uptick in the tensions with Iran, including these ballistic missile tests in the Indian Ocean, and the idea that commercial shipping is continually under threat? It's a lifeline, frankly, for the UAE economy.
Yes, of course it is. It is concerning, and there's a few days left to the Trump administration. We hope that everything goes smoothly in the transition of power. Was maximum pressure, in your view, successful? I think we are still in favor of maximum pressure. Yeah, absolutely. Was it successful? We think it'll succeed.